Sweat soaked Ethan Carter's shirt as Ms. Claire Foster sneered in the stifling Arlington classroom at Northbridge Academy, shredding his essay on his dad's Pentagon job, her voice dripping venom, pathetic fiction from a desperate kid. Laughter exploded until the door crashed open. A giant in a suit stormed in, Pentagon badge flashing, silence in the room. Darius's heart leapt, but gunfire rattled outside, shattering the moment. This wasn't just vindication. It was a fuse igniting a war that would scar his future. What had his father dragged them into? Before we dive in, let us know where you're watching from today. If you stand for justice against all odds, hit like and subscribe, because tomorrow's explosive episode is one you can't miss. Ethan Carter jolted awake to the sticky heat of an Arlington morning, the ceiling fan creaking above his narrow bed in their cramped duplex. His brown eyes flicked to the clock. 7:15. Another day at Northbridge Academy loomed, a gleaming fortress, a privilege perched in Buckhead, where his scholarship felt more like a curse than a blessing. At 11, he'd learned to dread the polished halls, where his frayed sneakers squeaked against marble, and his skin marked him an outsider before. He even opened his mouth. He tugged on the stiff navy blazer, the Northbridge crest glaring gold on his chest, and ran a hand over his tight fade, wishing he could scrub away the unease knotting his stomach. Downstairs, the scent of burnt toast hit him as Marcus Carter stood at the stove, his broad shoulders squared like he was still in the Marines. 6'4" with a jaw carved from stone and a buzz cut graying at the temples, Leonard moved with the precision of a man who'd faced bullets and lived. He slid a plate across the chip formica table, his voice low and gravelly. "Eat! Quick, Darius! We roll in 10. His dad's casual clothes, a faded polo and jeans, hid the truth. Leonard was no factory grunt or corner store clerk. He was a Pentagon strategist, a shadow player in wars most folks never heard about. Darius shoveled eggs into his mouth, the yolk runny and warm, while Leonard leaned against the counter, sipping black coffee that steamed in the mug gripped by his calloused hands. "Got that project today," Darius mumbled between bites, his fork scraping the plate. "Family legacy thing. I'm talking about you." Leonard's dark eyes narrowed, pinning Darius like a hawk spotting a rabbit. "Keep it vague, son. Say I work in security." "Nothing. More. People don't need details." His tone carried a warning, the kind that made Darius's spine stiffen. Leonard always said less than he meant, but the weight behind his words stuck like humidity on skin. Darius nodded, though a flicker of pride sparked in his chest. His dad wasn't just some suit-pushing papers. He was a man who'd stared down chaos and walked away breathing. Why couldn't he shout that to the world? The drive to Northbridge was quiet, the old Chevy's engine rumbling through streets lined with magnolias drooping in the heat. Leonard dropped him at the curb, the school's iron gates towering like a prison's. "Stay sharp," he called as Darius slung his backpack over one shoulder and waved, the sedan peeling away into morning traffic. Beyond those gates, luxury SUVs disgorged kids in crisp uniforms, their chatter loud with boasts about summer homes and trust funds. Darius squared his shoulders, chin up, but the stares followed him, sharp and curious, slicing through the muggy air. Inside, the classroom buzzed with pre-bell chaos, the AC humming too weak to cut the warmth. Mrs. Claire Foster swept in as the bell clanged, her heels clicking on the hardwood floor. 48, with honey blonde hair twisted into a severe bun, and a pencil skirt hugging her thin frame, she carried herself like a queen, ruling a fiefdom. Her green eyes scanned the room, lingering on Darius, with a faint curl of her lip. She'd taught at Northbridge for 20 years, molding the spawn of Arlington's elite, and she wore her authority like armor. "Settle down, class," she snapped, her voice crisp as a whip. "Today's the Family Legacy Project. Who your people are matters here. Hands shot up. Kids eager to flaunt their pedigrees." Logan Whitmore, a wiry blonde with a smirk, bragged about his dad's law firm raking in millions. Olivia Trent, all glossy curls and entitlement, crowed about her mum's lobbyist gigs in D.C. Darius sat near the back, his desk scarred with old graffiti waiting his turn. When Foster called his name, he stood, legs shaky but voice steady. "I'm Ethan Carter. My dad's Marcus Carter. He works at the Pentagon in security operations. Been there 12 years. The room went still, a heartbeat of silence before. Preston snorted loud and deliberate. Chloe giggled behind her manicured hand, and the laughter spread like a brush fire crackling through the rows. Foster didn't hush them. She crossed her arms, her smile thin and sharp as a blade. The Pentagon, Darius, really. Her tone dripped condescension, each word a jab. A black man at the Pentagon, maybe mopping floors or fetching coffee, but security operations. That's a stretch even for your imagination. The class roared, desks thumping as kids slapped them in glee. Darius's cheeks burned, his fists clenching under the desk, but he held her gaze, refusing to shrink. "It's true," he said louder now, pushing past the lump in his throat. "He's a strategist. He keeps the country safe." Foster's laugh was a brittle thing cutting through the noise. "Oh, Darius, save the fairy tales. We deal in facts here, not daydreams." She turned to the board, scribbling notes as if he'd never spoken, dismissing him with a flick of her wrist. The bell rang and kids streamed out, tossing taunts over their shoulders. "Pentagon janitor," Preston called, snickering as he shoved past. Darius stayed rooted, the humiliation a lead weight in his gut, until Foster shot him a final look. "See me after school. We'll discuss your creativity." The day dragged, each class a gauntlet of whispers and smirks. By 3, Darius trudged to Foster's office, the air thick with her lavender perfume. She sat behind her desk, papers stacked like a throne, and didn't offer him a chair. "I spoke to Principal Hughes," she said, her voice icy. "Your little stunt disrupted my class. Claiming such nonsense about your father, it's disrespectful to this institution. You're suspended for 2 days. Reflect on honesty, Darius." He opened his mouth to argue, but she held up a hand, her rings glinting. "Enough out." He stumbled into the hall, the suspension slip crumpled in his fist. Principal Hughes, a balding white man with a paunch, waited by the lockers, his tie askew. "You've got potential, Jackson," he said, not meeting Darius's eyes. "But Northbridge has standards. Stop making trouble." The words stung worse than Foster's mockery, a cold slap of doubt from the top. Darius walked home alone, the 4-mile trek through Arlington's sprawl, baking his anger into something hard and unyielding. Leonard's sedan wasn't in the driveway. When he got there, just the quiet house and a note. "Back late, stay inside." Darius sank onto the sagging couch, replaying Foster's sneer, the class's laughter, Vaughn's spineless shrug. This wasn't just a bad day, it was a system rigged to bury him. His dad's warnings echoed, "Keep it vague. Too late now." He'd waved a flag, and they'd trampled it, not because he lied, but because they couldn't stomach a black kid with their father who mattered. The suspension was a warning shot, But Darius felt it deeper, a crack in the ground beneath him. Leonard's job wasn't just a secret, it was a lightning rod, and Darius had no clue how hot it would burn. Night fell, the duplex creaking as cicadas droned outside. Darius scrolled his phone, the screen's glow harsh against the dark. Twitter buzzed with Northbridge kids piling on. Darius thinks his dad's James Bond LOL. Scholarship kid needs a reality check. He slammed the phone down, chest tight, when headlights swept the living room. Leonard stepped in, his face shadowed, carrying a leather satchel that clinked faintly. "Heard about school," he said, setting the bag down. "What happened?" "They called me a liar," Darius spat, voice cracking. "Foster tore me up in front of everyone. Said, 'You're a janitor, not a strategist.' Suspended me for it." Leonard's jaw tightened, a muscle twitching under his skin. "Told you to keep it low, Darius. This ain't a game." "I was proud of you," Darius shot back, standing now, fists balled. "Why's that a crime here?" Leonard crossed the room in 2 strides, his hand firm on Darius's shoulder. "It's not about pride. It's about who's listening. My work's got enemies and they don't play nice. You just lit a match." His eyes softened, but the edge stayed. "We'll fix this, but you gotta trust me." Darius nodded, swallowing the fire in his throat. Foster's ridicule wasn't just personal, it was a spark in a powder keg he couldn't yet see. Leonard grabbed his satchel, heading for the stairs, but paused. "Lock the doors tonight. All of them." The command hung heavy, a shadow stretching far beyond one cruel teacher's words. Darius didn't sleep, staring at the ceiling as the fan spun, wondering what kind of war he'd stumbled into. Ethan Carter slumped on the worn couch in their Arlington duplex. The suspension slip from Northbridge Academy crumpled in his fist like a badge of shame. The humid night pressed in, the fan's lazy spin doing nothing to cool the rage simmering in. His chest, 11 years old, and he'd already learned the world didn't bend for kids like him, not in a school where wealth gleamed brighter than truth. Mrs. Claire Foster's voice echoed in his skull, her smug, pathetic fiction slicing deeper with every replay. He grabbed his phone, the cracked screen flickering as he scrolled through the taunts still lighting up Twitter. "Pentagon janitor boy," one read. "Scholarship liar," another jabbed. Enough was enough. He'd seen Foster's venom before. The way she'd linger on his name during roll call, her lips twitching like she smelled something sour. Yesterday's humiliation was the breaking point. Darius fumbled with his phone, hands trembling as he opened the voice recorder app. Leonard was still upstairs, probably buried in whatever secret Pentagon work kept him up late. So Darius crept to his room, shutting the door with a soft click. He needed a plan, something to flip the script. What if he could catch her in the act? Could her own words bury her the way she'd buried him? The idea sparked, sharp and electric. Next morning, the suspension kept him home, but he wasn't idle. Leonard left before dawn, his satchel slung over his shoulder, muttering about a meeting. Alone, Darius rigged a cheap Bluetooth mic from his desk drawer, syncing it to his phone. He'd sneak back into Northbridge tomorrow, suspension be damned, and plant it during Foster's class. If she spewed that racist garbage again, he'd have proof. Was he crazy to risk more trouble? Maybe, but sitting still felt like surrender. And Ethan Carter didn't wave white flags. The sun barely peeked over the horizon when he slipped out, the 4-mile hike to Northbridge a sweaty blur of determination. His navy blazer hung loose, the crest mocking him as he ducked through a side gate left ajar by a groundskeeper. The halls buzzed with early arrivals, kids too busy flexing their privilege to notice him slinking past. Foster's classroom loomed ahead, empty for now. He darted in, Foster pounding like a drumline, and taped the mic under her podium, its tiny red light winking as it paired. How long could he pull this off before someone sniffed him out? He didn't care. He'd get her. By noon, he was back home, sprawled on the floor with his phone, the app streaming live audio. Foster's voice crackled through crisp and venomous as she lectured. Some students think they can invent grand stories to fit in, she said, her tone syrupy with disdain. Like claiming a father runs the Pentagon when he's more likely scrubbing its toilets. Delusion doesn't earn you a place here. Darius's breath caught, fury and triumph colliding. She'd done it. Handed him a loaded gun on a silver platter. He hit record, capturing every word as she rambled on. Oblivious. Northbridge is for legacies, not liars, she sneered, and the class snickered a chorus of cruelty. He didn't wait. Fingers flying, he uploaded the clip to YouTube, titling it, Northbridge Teacher Mocks Black Kid's Truth. Twitter got it next, tagged with Andra Justice for Darius and Beamshin, Northbridge Lies. By dusk, it was everywhere. His phone buzzed nonstop, notifications piling up like bricks. Local news bit first. Channel 6866 blasting Arlington teacher caught in racist rant on the evening broadcast. Views rocketed past 9,528,365, then 836. Comments flooded in. She's trash. Expose her. This is systemic. Darius grinned a wild, shaky thing as the internet turned Foster into a villain overnight. Had he actually won? Next day, the backlash hit Northbridge like a storm. Parents picketed the gates, signs screaming, "Fire Foster." Reporters swarmed. Mics thrust at anyone who'd talk. Principal Vaughn called an emergency assembly, his doughy face slick with sweat as he faced the gym packed with students and furious families. Darius sat in the back, reinstated after the uproar. His suspension lifted like it never happened. Foster took the mic, her bun tighter than ever, her voice quivering. "I apologize for my remarks," she said, eyes darting like a trapped animal. They were inappropriate and unprofessional. The crowd booed, drowning her out, and Darius felt a rush, pure and fierce. She'd crumbled. He'd made her. School let out early, chaos spilling into the parking lot. Kids high-fived him, strangers nodding like he was some hero. He strutted home, the weight of Foster's words replaced by a soaring lightness. Maybe Northbridge wasn't untouchable. Maybe he could fight back and win. The duplex came into view, porch light flickering, and he bounded up the steps, ready to tell Leonard everything. He'd done it, turned their doubt into dust. Was this what justice felt like? He unlocked the door, still buzzing, when a crash shattered the night. Glass sprayed across the living room, a brick thudding onto the rug. Darius froze, pulse hammering as he scooped it up. A note was taped to it, scrawled in jagged black ink. "Keep your mouth shut, boy." His stomach dropped, the triumph curdling. Fast? Footsteps crunched outside, shadows flitting past the busted window before tires squealed down the street. He bolted to lock the door, hands shaking as he dialed Leonard. No answer. The phone slipped, clattering on the hardwood. What had he stirred up? Leonard burst in an hour later, his suit rumpled, eyes wild. "You okay?" he barked, scanning the room like a soldier on patrol. Darius nodded, clutching the brick, the note trembling in his grip. Leonard snatched it, his face hardening into something dark and unreadable. "This ain't random," he said, voice low as thunder. "That video you posted, it's got eyes on us now. My work's got enemies, Darius. Old ones, mean ones. They don't like attention." Darius blinked, the room tilting. "Enemies from the Pentagon? What's that got to do with me?" "Everything," Leonard snapped, pacing now, his boots thumping. "I've been tracked before. Kept it quiet. Heart running her mouth, you blasting it online. It's a neon sign. They know where we are, who we are." He stopped, locking eyes, with Darius the weight of years in his stare. "Damian Black, ex-CIA rogue now. I crossed him a decade back, took down his ops. He's been waiting to hit me where it hurts." "Hurts," Darius echoed, voice small. "You mean me?" Leonard nodded grim. "You just painted a target, son. Hearts are pawn, but Black's the king. This brick's a warning shot. Next one won't miss." He grabbed his satchel, pulling out a sleek black device that hummed faintly. "We're locking down tonight. No more stunts. You hear me?" Darius sank onto the couch, the brick heavy in his lap. His big win, the viral clip, Hart's apology. It all felt hollow now, a trap he'd sprung on himself. He'd wanted to prove them wrong, show Northbridge he belonged. But at what cost? The room spun, the broken window gaping like a wound. Leonard taped cardboard over it, his movements sharp, military fast. "Sleep light," he said, not looking back. "Tomorrow's going to be hell." Darius stared at the ceiling that night, the fans creak at taunt. Hart's downfall was supposed to be his rise, but it had dragged something uglier into the light. Black, a name he'd never heard, tied to a past he didn't know, now clawing at his present. The victory tasted like ash, sour and fleeting, replaced by a dread that clung like damp heat. What kind of monster hunted an 11-year-old over a grudge? He clutched his phone, the screen dark, wondering if every like had bought him a bigger enemy. So what do you think? Should Darius have stayed quiet, or was fighting back worth the risk? Drop a 1 in the comments if you think he did the right thing, a 2 if you'd have played it safe. Smash that like button if you're rooting for him to take. HUD down the system and subscribe because tomorrow's twist will flip everything you thought you knew. Was this just a spark, or did Darius ignite a fire he can't put out? Ethan Carter woke to a gray Arlington dawn, the cardboard over the busted window rattling in a muggy breeze. His stomach churned, the brick's jagged edges still imprinted in his palms from last night's warning. Leonard's words looped in his head. Damian Black, target, warning shot. The duplex felt smaller, walls closing in as he tugged on his Crestwood blazer, the navy fabric stiff against his skin. Today was Parents' Day, and Leonard had promised to show up, to shove Foster's smugness down her throat. Darius clung to that, a lifeline in the dread pooling inside him. Leonard stood in the kitchen, his broad frame dwarfing the room, dressed sharper than usual. A charcoal suit hugged his shoulders, the Pentagon badge clipped to his lapel, glinting under the fluorescent light. No faded polo today. He looked like a man who commanded respect, not begged for it. "You ready?" he asked, voice steady, but eyes scanning the windows like he expected shadows to lunge. Darius nodded, grabbing his backpack, the weight of yesterday's viral win, and the brick's threat slugging it out in his chest. They rolled out in the Chevy, the engine's growl a low rumble through streets thick with morning haze. Northbridge Prep buzzed when they arrived, the parking lot a sea of gleaming BMWs and Lexuses, disgorging parents in tailored suits and pearls. The iron gates loomed, less a welcome than a challenge. But Leonard strode through like he owned the place, Darius trailing in his shadow. The gym was packed, rows of folding chairs filled with families, the air humming with chatter about stock portfolios and vacation homes. Mrs. Claire Foster stood at the front, her honey blonde bun pristine, her cream blouse crisp as she greeted parents with a practiced smile. Her green eyes flicked to Darius, narrowing, then widened as Leonard stepped up beside him. "Mr. Jackson," she said, voice tight, her handshake limp as Leonard's massive hand engulfed hers. "Didn't expect you'd make it." "Wouldn't miss it," Leonard replied, smooth as steel, his badge catching the light. Foster's lips twitched, a crack in her armor, but she waved them to seats near the back. Darius sat, Foster thumping. As kids took turns at the podium, Logan Whitmore droning about his dad's law empire, Olivia Trent gushing over her mom's DC connections. The room clapped politely, a rhythm of privilege until Foster called Darius' name. Her tone clipped, daring him to flop again. He stood, legs wobbly, and walked to the front, Leonard's steady gaze anchoring him. "My dad's Marcus Carter," he started, voice cracking before it steadied. "He's a security strategist at the Pentagon, 12 years, keeps the country safe." Whispers rippled, heads turning to Leonard, who sat stone still, badge gleaming. Foster's smile froze, a brittle mask as Darius stepped back. She cleared, her throat forced to call Leonard up next, her heels clicking louder than usual. Leonard took the podium, 6'4" of quiet power, his deep voice filling the gym. "I'm Marcus Carter, been with the Pentagon since 6712. I run counterintelligence ops, track threats most folks never see." "My son's not lying," he paused, eyes sweeping the room, landing on Foster. "He's got no reason to." The crowd shifted, murmurs growing, parents nudging each other as Leonard laid out his creds. Ex-Marine, classified missions, a career built on grit, not handouts. Darius beamed, chest swelling, watching Foster's face pale, her hands twisting her notes into knots. She couldn't interrupt, couldn't sneer, not with every eye on her now. The applause hit like a wave, loud and real, drowning out the whispers. Kids stared at Darius, wide-eyed, some even nodding like he'd earned a stripe. Preston's smirk faltered. Chloe's jaw dropped. Foster clapped too, mechanical, her lips a thin line. Leonard stepped down, a hand on Darius's shoulder, and for a moment it felt like victory, pure and unbreakable. They'd shut her up, proved her wrong in front of her kingdom. Darius grinned, reckless with it, until a scream split the air. Glass shattered somewhere down the hall, a jagged crash followed by shouts. The gym doors slammed open and 3 masked men stormed in, black hoods pulled tight, rifles swinging. "Marcus Carter," one bellowed, voice muffled but venomous, his gun sweeping the crowd. Parents shrieked, diving under chairs, kids scrambling as chaos erupted. Leonard shoved Darius hard, toppling him under a desk, his body a shield as bullets cracked overhead, splintering wood and pinging metal. Darius's ears rang, his breath shallow, peering through the desk's gap as the gunmen fired wild, their boots stomping closer. "Stay down," Leonard hissed, his hand clamping Darius's arm, eyes darting like he'd seen this before. The lead gunman shouted again, "Where's Jackson? We know you're here." A stray shot punched through the podium, papers fluttering like wounded birds. Foster crouched nearby, her bun unraveling, her face a mask of terror. Parents wailed, clutching kids, the air thick with panic and gunpowder. Then, as fast as they'd come, the gunmen bolted, Footsteps fading down the hall, tires screeching outside. Sirens wailed in the distance, too late. Leonard hauled Darius up, checking him for blood, his grip iron tight. "You hurt?" Darius shook his head numb, the gym a wreckage of overturned chairs and sobbing families. Cops flooded in, radios crackling, ushering people out. But Foster staggered to her feet, pointing a trembling finger at Leonard. "You," she spat, voice shrill. "You brought this here. Thugs like that don't just show up." Her words sliced through the chaos, heads turning, parents muttering agreement. "He's a danger to our children." Darius blinked, the triumph curdling fast. "That's not true," he yelled, but Foster barreled on, her fear twisting into venom. "Your father's a fraud, dragging gang filth into my school." A cop stepped between them, a burly white guy with a buzz cut, his badge reading Deputy Harlan. He eyed Leonard, skeptical, then barked into Ed radio. "Need to question this one. Possible gang ties." Leonard's jaw tightened, but he raised his hand slow, calm as stone. "Dad didn't do this," Darius pleaded, voice cracking. But Deputy Harlan grabbed Leonard's arm, steering him toward a squad car. "We'll sort it out downtown," he said, gruff, ignoring Darius's shouts. Parents whispered, phones out, filming as Leonard was led off. The badge that had silenced Foster now a shackle. Darius stood frozen, the gym emptying, Foster's accusation ringing louder than the gunfire. "See what happens when you lie," she hissed, brushing past, her smirk creeping back. Alone in the wreckage, Darius's knees buckled. The cops hadn't even asked him what happened, just swallowed Foster's story whole. Leonard's warning about enemies flashed back, Black Shadow looming larger now. Those gunmen knew his dad's name came for him, but Foster flipped it, painted them as ghetto trash tied to Darius. The victory, Leonard proving her wrong, it was ash now, trampled in the stampede. He stumbled outside, the squad car's taillights, fading sirens, a fading wail. Northbridge's gates loomed behind him, mocking as he realized this wasn't the end. It was a trap springing shut. Night fell slow, the duplex dark when Darius trudged home, the busted window still gaping. No Leonard, just silence in the brick from last night, sitting on the coffee table like a taunt. He sank onto the couch, replaying the gunman's shouts, Foster's venom, Deputy Harlan's cuffs on his dad. This wasn't random, it was planned. A hit tied to Black and Foster had turned it into her weapon. His phone buzzed a text from an unknown number. "Your next kid." His breath hitched. The screens glow cold against the dark. Parents' Day was supposed to bury Foster's lies, but it had buried them instead, deeper than he'd ever imagined. Ethan Carter sat on the sagging couch in their Arlington duplex, the busted window letting in a sticky breeze that did nothing to ease the knot in his gut. Leonard was still downtown, locked in a cell because of Mrs. Claire Foster's venomous twist after the Parents' Day shooting. The clock ticked past midnight, its hands mocking him as he stared at the brick on the coffee table, its note crumpled beside it. "Keep your mouth shut, boy." His phone buzzed again, the unknown number's text glowing. "Your next kid." Fear clawed his throat, but anger burned hotter. Foster had turned his dad's triumph into a trap, and now the cops believed her lies. Morning came slow, the humid air thick with tension as Darius trudged to Northbridge Academy for a school. Board hearing, Leonard was out, released after hours of grilling, but the damage was done. The boardroom loomed, a sterile box of mahogany and fluorescent lights, 7 suits staring down from a long table. Principal Hughes sat center, his tie crooked, flanked by Foster, her bun tighter than ever. And Officer Deputy Harlan, the buzz-cut cop who'd cuffed Leonard, now slouched in a cheap blazer. Darius stood alone, no lawyer, just his backpack and a pounding heart. Leonard couldn't come. Pentagon brass had him on lockdown after the attack. Vaughn cleared his throat, voice oily. We're here to address yesterday's incident and Darius, Jackson's role at Northbridge. Foster leaned forward, her green eyes glinting like a predator's. This boy's a menace, she said, sharp and deliberate. His father claims Pentagon ties, but those gunmen were no coincidence. I saw Darius signal them. A nod right before they stormed in. He invited gang filth into my school. Gasps rippled through the board, heads nodding like they'd already decided. Darius's jaw dropped, heat flooding his face. That's a lie, he shouted, voice cracking. I didn't signal anybody. They came for my dad, not me. Deputy Harlan smirked, sliding a tablet across the table. We've got proof, he said, tapping the screen. Grainy security footage rolled, showing Darius at the podium, then a quick head tilt as the gunman burst in. The clip looped, edited tight, making it look deliberate. Gang associates, Deputy Harlan added, leaning back. Known troublemakers. Leonard's probably their ringleader, and the kid's in on it. The room spun, Darius gripping the table's edge. That's fake. I didn't do that. But the board murmured, Vaughn scribbling notes, Foster's smirk growing. He's disruptive, she pressed, suspended already for lying about his father. Now this. He's a threat to our students. The chairman, a gray-haired man in a pinstripe suit, banged a gavel. Enough, Ethan Carter. You're expelled. Effective immediately. Northbridge is no place for gang ties. The word hit like a punch, racial venom dripping from every syllable. Unspoken but loud. Darius stumbled out, the expulsion letter shaking in his hand, the school's gates slamming shut behind him. 4 miles home, the Arlington sun baked his rage into something solid, each step pounding the lies into his skull. Foster and Deputy Harlan had framed him, twisted a nod into a signal, his blackness into a crime. He'd won with that viral clip, forced her apology, but now she'd hit back, harder, using the system like a club. The duplex waited, dark and quiet, Leonard's sedan still gone. Darius unlocked the door, stepping into a nightmare. The living room was trashed, couch cushions slit, glass crunching underfoot from the busted window. Family photos lay shredded, racial slurs carved into the frames with a knife. Go back where you came from. No place for you here. The TV dangled by its cord, screen cracked, a brick-sized hole punched through it. Darius's breath hitched, legs trembling as he climbed the stairs. His room was worse, bed flipped, clothes torn. His science fair trophy snapped in half. Red paint splattered the walls, spelling out liar spawn. He sank to the floor, the expulsion letter fluttering beside him, the weight of it all crushing his chest. Leonard burst in an hour later, suit wrinkled, eyes bloodshot. Darius, he bellowed. Finding him amid the wreckage, he dropped his satchel, kneeling fast. You okay? What happened? Darius pointed at the walls, voice hoarse. They did this after the hearing. Expelled me. Said I signaled the gunman that you're a gang leader. Leonard's face darkened, a storm brewing as he scanned the slurs. The ruin. Hard, he muttered, fists clenching. And Deputy Harlan, they're not working alone. He pulled Darius up, guiding him to the kitchen, the only room untouched. Water ran cold from the tap as Leonard splashed his face, then sat heavy at the table. Damian Black, he said, voice low, lethal. Ex-CIA, rogue now. I took down his black side ops 10 years back. Cost him everything. He's been hunting me since, waiting for a crack. Hart's his pawn, Deputy Harlan too, that footage doctored. Black's got reach, deep and dirty. Darius blinked, the name sinking in like lead. Hunting you through me? Leonard nodded, pulling a small black device from his pocket, its screen flickering with red dots. This tracks threats. They've been close for weeks. Your video lit the fuse, but Parents' Day was his move. Those gunmen were his, not some gang. He's turning our lives into leverage. He gripped Darius's shoulder, firm but shaking. They hit the house while I was stuck downtown. This is war now. Darius stared at the device, the dots pulsing like heartbeats. Expelled, house trashed, and you're locked up half the day. How's that leverage? Leonard's eyes hardened, a soldier's resolve breaking through. To break us, make us run, make me slip. Black wants something I've got, files from that old op. He'll burn everything to get it. He stood, pacing, boots thudding. We're not running, not yet. The kitchen felt like a bunker, the trashed house a battlefield. Darius clutched the expulsion letter, Foster's voice in his head. Gang filth. Deputy Harlan smirked, the board's nods. It was all Black, puppeteering them with racism as his strings. Leonard grabbed a broom, sweeping glass, his movements sharp, deliberate. Sleep downstairs tonight, he said. We fix this tomorrow. Black's not done, and neither are we. Darius nodded, numb, the wreckage around him a mirror to the chaos inside. Foster had won this round, flipped his fight into a frame-up, but the real enemy was out there, waiting. Night crept in, the duplex creaking under its wounds. Darius lay on the couch, a blanket pulled tight, the slurs on the walls glaring down. Leonard sat by the door, device in hand, a sentinel in the dark. The expulsion wasn't just a loss, it was a brand, a scarlet letter screaming trouble to anyone who'd listen. Foster's lie, Deputy Harlan's tape, Black's knife they'd carved, it deep, and Darius felt it, a scar that wouldn't fade. Sleep dodged him, the unknown numbers, text looping. You're next. What came next when the world already saw you as the villain? Okay, let's unpack this mess. Did Foster and Deputy Harlan go too far pinning this on Darius, or were they just pawns in Black's game? Drop a 8165 in the comments if you think they're as guilty as Black, a 6723 if you'd give them a pass for being tools. Hit that like button if you're raging at how they twisted Darius's truth into a lie. And subscribe because tomorrow's chapter will blow this conspiracy wide open. Can Darius claw his way out of this hole, or has Black already stacked the deck too high? Ethan Carter woke to the sour stench of paint fumes wafting through the Arlington duplex, the red slurs still wet on his bedroom walls. The couch creaked under him, his back stiff from a sleepless night. Leonard's silhouette a dark bulk by the door, clutching that humming black device. Dawn bled through the cardboard patch window, casting jagged shadows over the trashed living room, shredded photos curling on the floor like fallen leaves. The expulsion letter sat crumpled on the coffee table, Foster's victory branded into its ink, but Darius's mind churned on Black, the ghost pulling strings from shadows. Leonard stirred, his suit rumpled, eyes hollow from a night in watch. Hup, he grunted, voice rough as gravel. We're not sitting ducks. He tossed Darius a hoodie, the gray fabric frayed but warm. Got a contact, someone who can help. Darius pulled it on, the weight grounding him as he followed. Leonard to the Chevy, its engine coughing awake. The streets blurred past. Arlington sprawl waking slow under a heavy sky. the humid air sticking to his skin like guilt. Leonard drove tight-lipped, turning off into a maze of back roads near Northbridge Academy, tires crunching gravel. They pulled up to a sagging garage tucked behind a row of pines, its tin roof dented, a faded sign reading Andre's Auto peeling above the door. Leonard cut the engine, nodding toward it. Andre Lewis, janitor at your school, knows more than he lets on. Darius frowned, picturing the wiry black man who'd swept Northbridge's halls, always quiet, eyes sharp behind thick glasses. The garage door rattled up, and Andre stepped out. Late 30s, oil-stained overalls hanging loose, a rag twisted in his hands. "Leonard," he said, voice low, then glanced at Darius. "Kids in deep, huh?" "Deeper than you know," Leonard replied, ushering Darius inside. The garage smelled of grease and metal, tools scattered across a workbench, a beat-up Toyota jacked up in the corner. Andre shut the door, locking it with a clank, then pulled a phone from his pocket, its screen cracked but bright. "Caught this during Parents' Day," he said, tapping play. The footage shook, grainy but clear enough, masked gunmen bursting into the gym, one shouting, "Kane wants Jackson alive." Foster's scream cut through. Then the clip ended, Andre's thumb freezing it on a gunman's blurred face. Darius's breath hitched. The name Kane, a punch to the gut. "You recorded that? Why didn't you show the cops?" Andre snorted, wiping sweat from his brow. "Cops like Deputy Harlan? They'd bury it, pin it on you faster. Been watching Foster and her crew for months. She's dirty, kid. Hates you, Cos. You're black and breathing her air. Kane's using her." Leonard nodded, arms crossed. "Andre's ex-Army intel guy. Owes me from way back. He's our eyes inside." "Inside?" Darius echoed, pulse racing. "You're still at Northbridge?" Andre grinned, a flash of teeth against his dark skin. "Yeah, they don't suspect the help. Got more, too. Kane's men scoped the school before the hit. Met Deputy Harlan out back. I've got audio, dates, enough to burn them." He handed Leonard a USB drive, small and silver, its edges scratched. "Leak this and Foster's toast. Maybe Kane, too." Darius's chest swelled, a spark flaring in the dark. "We can expose them. Get me back in school?" Leonard pocketed the drive, his jaw tight. "More than that. Clear our names, hit Kane where it hurts. But it's got to be fast." Andre nodded, grabbing keys from the bench. "I'll drive. You to a reporter I know, Channel 5158. She's clean, hates corruption. We move now. This blows up by tonight." Darius followed them to Andre's rust-eaten sedan, hope flickering, fragile but real. Could this flip the script for good? The car rattled through Arlington's fringes, Andre weaving past strip malls and potholed streets. Leonard in the passenger seat, Darius sprawled in back. The USB burned a hole in Leonard's pocket, a weapon sharper than bullets. Andre's voice cut through the engine's whine. "Reporter's name Sarah Dalton. Broke a cop scandal last year. She'll eat this up." Darius leaned forward, gripping the seat. "Foster'll have to eat her words. Deputy Harlan, too." Leonard grunted, eyes on the road. "Kane won't sit quiet. Stay sharp." They hit a red light near a crumbling gas station, the air thick with exhaust when glass exploded beside Darius. He ducked, shards raining, as a black SUV roared up, windows down, two men in ski masks unloading gunfire. Bullets punched the sedan, metal screeching, Andre swearing as he floored. Leonard twisted, pulling a pistol from his waistband, returning fire through the shattered window, brass casings clinking on the dash. "Kane's crew," he yelled, voice steady despite the chaos. "Get us out of here!" Darius crouched low, heart slamming, the seats stuffing puffing around him as bullets tore through. Andre swerved, tires squealing, clipping a curb as the SUV gained, its engine a guttural snarl. A slug grazed Leonard's arm, blood blooming dark on his sleeve. But he didn't flinch, popping off shots that cracked the SUV's windshield. "Hang on," Andre shouted, yanking the wheel into an alley, trash cans toppling in their wake. The SUV followed relentless, a third gunman leaning out spraying lead. The alley narrowed, brick walls blurring past, and Andre slammed the brakes, skidding sideways to block the path. "Out!" he barked, kicking his door open. Leonard hauled Darius from the wreck, shoving him behind a dumpster as the SUV screeched to a stop. Three men piled out, boots pounding, guns raised. Andre fired from the car's hood, dropping one with a chest shot, blood pooling black on the asphalt. Leonard took another, a clean headshot, the body crumpling like a rag doll, but the third grabbed Andre, wrenching him over the hood, a knife flashing. Darius lunged, screaming, "No!" But Leonard yanked him back, pinning him as Andre fought, the blade slashing his arm. The gunman slammed Andre's head against the car once, twice, then dragged him to the SUV, tires spinning as it peeled away. Darius thrashed, tears stinging, but Leonard held firm. "He's gone, we can't chase." The alley fell silent, the sedan smoking. Two bodies sprawled, Andre's blood streaking the hood. Darius sank to his knees, the USB still in Leonard's. Pocket useless now. Leonard pulled him up, grim. Black knew. Tracked us somehow. He kicked the sedan's tire, glass crunching underfoot. Andre's tape's gone with him. Darius wiped his face, voice raw. "They took him 'cause of me." Leonard shook his head, blood dripping from his arm. "No, 'cause of me." Blacks playing hardball. Sirens wailed, distant but closing, and Leonard tugged Darius toward the shadows. "Move. Cops'll twist this too." They stumbled through. Backyards. Leonard's limp worsening until they hit a storm drain, ducking inside as red lights flashed above. Dank water soaked Darius's sneakers, the dark swallowing them. Leonard leaned against the concrete, breathing hard. "Blacks, framing you now. Just heard on the scanner. Andre's overdose. Heroin, they're saying. You're the suspect." Darius's stomach dropped. The hope from Andre's plan snuffed out, replaced by a noose tightening fast. The drain echoed with drips. Leonard's device glowing faint, its dots pulsing closer. "They beat him," Darius whispered, picturing. Andre's glasses cracked, his quiet strength broken. Leonard nodded grim. Probably dead already. Black's cleaning house. He fished a rag from his pocket, tying off his arm, blood seeping through. "We're on our own now. That tape was our shot." Darius clenched his fists, the ambush replaying, Andre's sacrifice a weight he couldn't shake. Hart's lies. Deputy Harlan's badge. Black's knife. They'd turned his ally into a ghost. Night settled the drain, a cold refuge as sirens faded. Darius sat, knees up, the USB a hollow promise in Leonard's hand. Andre had risked everything, handed them a lifeline, and Black had snapped it, brutal and swift. The frame-up was complete. Darius a fugitive in a war he didn't start. Racial hate fueling every blow. Leonard's voice cut the silence. "We fight back smarter. Black's not invincible." But Darius stared at the dark, hope drowned in blood, wondering how deep this hole could get. Ethan Carter crouched in the damp storm drain, the cold concrete biting through his soaked hoodie as Arlington's morning light barely pierced the gloom. Leonard leaned against the wall, his wounded arm crudely bandaged, the black device in, his hand flickering with red dots that pulsed too close for comfort. Andre's blood still stained Darius's memory, the ambush replaying in brutal flashes, the gunfire, the knife, the SUV tearing away with his ally. The overdose frame-up blared. On a stolen radio nearby, Deputy Harlan's voice smug over the static. Ethan Carter, suspect in janitor's death, armed and dangerous. The lie twisted the knife deeper, racial hate branding him a killer at 11. Leonard shifted, wincing as he pocketed the device. "We can't stay here," he rasped, voice hoarse from the night's chaos. "Got a friend at Northbridge who'll help, Ms. Rivera." Darius's head snapped up, picturing the young Latina teacher who'd slipped him extra books. Her quiet kindness a rare light in that snake pit. "She knows." Leonard nodded, hauling himself up. "Enough. She's clean. Hates heart's guts. Let's move." They slipped out, the city waking around them. Sirens a distant hum as they zigzagged through alleys to a modest apartment near Northbridge's edge. Ms. Rivera opened her door, her dark hair pulled into a messy ponytail, eyes widening at Leonard's. Blood-streaked sleeve in Darius's haunted stare. "Madre de Dios," she muttered, ushering them in. The place smelled of coffee and cinnamon, a stark contrast to the drain's rot. She locked the door, her voice sharp. "What's this about?" "Andre? Radio saying overdose, but I don't buy it." Leonard sank onto her couch, Darius beside him as he laid it bare. Black's vendetta, Foster's lies, Deputy Harlan's frame-up, the ambush. Rivera's jaw tightened, her hands balling into fists. "That pooter Foster's been gunning for you since day one. Darius, this is bigger than her." She grabbed her phone, pacing. "I've got people, parents, teachers, who've had enough of Northbridge's elitist crap. We rally, get you back in, expose this." Darius's chest flickered with something like hope, fragile but growing. "You think they'll listen?" Rivera smirked, fierce. "They'll have to. I've seen Foster trash kids like you before. All skin and no trust fund." Time she choked. On it, Leonard handed her the USB, Andre's last gift. It's audio intact despite the chaos. "Leak this. It's got Black's name. Deputy Harlan's, too." Rivera worked fast, calling allies, her voice a whip cracking through the room. By noon, a protest swelled outside Northbridge's gates, 50-strong signs stabbing the air. "Reinstate Darius, fire Foster, end the lies." Channel 6558's Sarah Dalton showed up, her camera crew rolling as Rivera took the mic, her words blazing. "Ethan Carter's no criminal. He's a victim of a racist teacher and a crooked cop. We've got proof." She played Andre's clip, Black's orders echoing loud, the crowd roaring as Foster's name drew boos. Darius stood beside her, head high, the expulsion letter burning a hole in his pocket. Inside, Principal Vaughn caved, his doughy face slick with panic as the board scrambled. By dusk, a letter hit Darius's cracked phone. Expulsion reversed. Immediate reinstatement. The crowd cheered, fists pumping, Rivera hugging him tight. "You did it, kid," she said, her grin wide. Darius felt the weight lift, a rush of vindication washing over the filth of the past days. Foster's reign was cracking. Deputy Harlan's badge tarnished, and he was back in. He walked home with Leonard, the duplex's busted window a badge of survival now, not shame. Could this be the turning point? Night fell, the humid air buzzing with victory. As Darius sprawled on the couch, Leonard stitching his arm with a field kit grim but steady. The TV flickered, Sarah Dalton's report looping. Northbridge student cleared. Community demands justice. Darius grinned, reckless with it, until a thud shook the front door. Leonard dropped the needle, pistol out in a flash, shoving Darius behind him. Down, he hissed, but the door held, silence stretching taut. Then a scream, muffled from outside. Darius peeked through the cardboard, his gut plummeting. A black van agiled across the street, two masked men dragging a limp figure from the shadows. Leonard burst out, gun raised, but the van peeled away, tires screeching, leaving a crumpled heap on the lawn. "No," Leonard breathed, sprinting over, Darius on his heels. It was Rivera, her face bloodied, neck twisted wrong, dead eyes staring. At the sky, a note pinned to her chest read, "Files Jackson or the kids next." Darius gagged, knees buckling, the victory souring fast. Leonard pulled him back inside, locking the door, his face a mask of fury and guilt. "Kane," he spat, crumpling the note. "He hit her to hit us." Darius sank to the floor, Rivera's grin flashing, her fire snuffed out for him. The TV blared on, oblivious, as Leonard's phone rang, a distorted voice crackling through. "Pentagon files now. Steal them from Daddy's laptop, boy, or we keep cutting." The line died and Darius's breath hitched, the room tilting. His win had cost Rivera her life, and now Kane held a blade to her throat. Leonard grabbed his laptop from the satchel, its screen glowing cold as he logged in, fingers flying. "They want Iron Wave files," he muttered, eyes darting. "Old op classified deep. Kane's obsessed." Darius stared numb. "Steal from you? How?" Leonard's jaw tightened. "They know I've got access. Planted spyware, probably. You're the pawn now." He slammed the laptop shut, pacing. "Cops are coming, hearts spinning this already." Sirens wailed, closing fast, red lights flashing through the busted window. A bullhorn blared. Marcus Carter, Ethan Carter. "Exit with hands up," Leonard cursed, shoving Darius toward the back door. "They think you hacked me, killed Rivera." Keynes flipped it. The front door rattled, boots pounding, as Deputy Harlan's voice cut through. "Fugitives, armed and dangerous." Darius stumbled out, Leonard behind, the duplex swarming with blue uniforms. Foster's voice crackled over a radio. "That black boy's. A menace always was." They bolted through the yard, chain link rattling as they climbed, sirens screaming. Leonard's arm bled fresh, soaking the rag, but he pushed Darius into a ditch, the dark swallowing them. "Rivera died for nothing," Darius whispered, voice breaking. Leonard gripped his shoulder, fierce. "Not nothing. We're still here." Kane's desperate, making moves. The laptop sat heavy in the satchel, a ticking bomb. Darius's reinstatement, the protest. It was a mirage, shattered by Kane's fist, Foster's glee, Deputy Harlan's cuffs waiting. The ditch stank of mud and fear. Arlington's night pressing down. A private hell swallowing his public win. So what's your take on this twist? Was Rivera's sacrifice worth the fight, or should Darius have stayed low? Drop a 1 in the comments if you think she died a hero, a 2 if you'd have run instead. Smash that like button if you're gutted by Kane's payback. And subscribe because tomorrow's showdown will rip this wide open. Will Darius crack under Kane's threat? Or is there a way to turn the tables on this monster? Ethan Carter huddled in the muddy ditch, the Arlington night pressing down like a wet shroud. Leonard's ragged breathing beside him, a grim metronome. Ms. Rivera's lifeless face haunted him, her bloodied body sprawled on their lawn. Kane's note burned into his skull, files, or the kids next. The sirens had faded, cops swarming the duplex, but the danger clung closer, Kane's shadow a noose tightening with every heartbeat. Leonard clutched the laptop, its weight a curse, his wounded arm seeping dark through the rag. "We're not giving him squat," he growled, voice low and lethal. "We end this." Darius wiped mud from his face. The expulsion reversed now a cruel joke. Foster's voice on the radio branding him a killer. "How?" he whispered, voice trembling but edged with fire. "They've got everything, Dad. Rivera, Andre, the house." Leonard's eyes glinted hard as flint. "Kane wants Ironwave files. We give him fakes. Lure him out. I've got contacts, FBI. We flip his game." He pulled the laptop open, its screen casting a cold glow, fingers tapping fast despite the blood. "You're smarter than him, Darius. Hack it." The idea sparked wild and reckless in the dark of the ditch. Darius nodded, adrenaline surging past the fear. Fake files? I can do that. He'd messed with code before, built apps for fun, but this was life or death. Leonard handed over the machine, its Pentagon-grade encryption, a wall he'd have to climb. "Plant a tracker too," Leonard added, digging a tiny chip from his satchel, its edges glinting. They take it, we follow. Darius's hands shook as he worked, the mud caking his fingers, but lines of code flowed, a lifeline in the muck. Hours bled by, the night thick with crickets and distant traffic. Leonard, keeping watch as Darius, forged a dummy file labeling it Ironwave Classified Ops. He buried a tracking script deep, a digital breadcrumb, black wooden spot. "Done," he said, voice raw, handing it back. Leonard grinned, a rare crack in his stone face. "Good, I'll call it in." He dialed a burner phone, voice clipped. Agent Monroe, it's Jackson. Got a sting. Black's crew. Fake drop tonight." "Trace it," the line crackled, a woman's voice agreeing, sharp and steady. "FBI's on," Leonard said, pocketing it. "We move now." They slipped from the ditch, Leonard's limp slowing them as they hit a payphone 3 blocks over, the air humid and stale. Darius fed coins, hands slick, and typed an anonymous tip to a burner number Leonard had memorized. "Files at Old Mill, midnight. Come alone. Black's crew would bite, greedy for the prize." The plan was simple. FBI swoops in, nabs them, frees Leonard from the frame-up. Darius's heart pounded as they trekked to the mill, an abandoned husk on Arlington's outskirts, its rusted silos looming like sentinels in the dark. They hid in a crumbling office, the laptop propped on a rotting desk, its screen dim. Leonard checked his pistol, blood crusting his sleeve, while Darius crouched by a shattered window, the tracker app open on his phone, a green dot pulsing steady. "They're coming," he whispered, the dot shifting closer, 5 miles out, then 3. Headlights sliced the night, a black van rolling up, 3 men spilling out, masked and armed. Darius's breath hitched, but Leonard signaled calm, his grip steady. "Wait for it," he mouthed, eyes on the door. The men stormed in, boots thudding, rifles swinging. "Jackson's here," one snarled, spotting the laptop. They grabbed it, greedy, oblivious to the trap, and bolted back to the van. Darius's phone pinged, the tracker live, moving fast. "FBI's got him," Leonard said, a rare relief in his voice. Sirens wailed, close now, red lights flashing as agents swarmed the mill road, tires screeching, gunfire cracked, sharp and chaotic. Black's crew pinned. Leonard hauled Darius up, limping out. "We did it," he said, clapping his shoulder. "They're done." The night lit up, squad cars boxing the van, agents shouting orders. 2 gunmen dropped, blood pooling. The third cuffed, the laptop seized. Leonard's burner buzzed, Agent Monroe's voice cutting through. "Cruise down, Leonard. You're clear. Black's exposed." Darius's chest swelled, a wild grin breaking free. Foster's lies. Deputy Harlan's frame. Rivera's death. It unraveled here. The mill a battlefield they'd won. He turned to Leonard, ready to bolt home, when a roar shook the earth. A fireball erupted blocks away, orange and furious. The duplex direction unmistakable. Darius froze, the grin dying as smoke clawed the sky, the blast's echo rattling his bones. Leonard's face went gray, pistol slipping as he stumbled forward. Black, he choked, sprinting despite the limp. Darius racing behind, lungs burning, the streets blurred, the heat growing as they hit their block. The duplex a smoldering ruin, flames licking the night. Neighbors gaped, phones out. But Darius saw her first, Miss Rivera's car, parked out front, now a charred husk. No, he gasped, staggering closer, the heat searing his face. Leonard kicked through debris, coughing, and found her, slumped in the driver's seat, burned beyond recognition, a melted phone clutched in her hand. She came to check on us? Leonard rasped, voice breaking, pulling Darius back as flames roared. Sirens screamed, fire trucks rolling in, but it was too late. Rivera was gone again, her second death. A gut punch worse than the first. Darius sank to his knees, the victory ash in his mouth. The mill's win a cruel mirage. Cops swarmed, Deputy Harlan among them, his buzz cut gleaming under floodlights. "Jackson," he barked, pointing. "This you're doing?" Leonard spun, fury raw. "Back off, Deputy Harlan. You've got Black's crew." But Foster's voice cut through, shrill from a megaphone as she strode up, her bun singed but intact. "That Black boy's a menace," she yelled, neighbors nodding, fear twisting into hate. "Look what he's brought us. Arson. Murder," the crowd murmured, phones filming, Deputy Harlan smirking as he waved back up. "Evidence says Darius torched it." He lied, loud and deliberate. Darius's head spun, the blast heat still stinging his eyes. "I didn't," he shouted, voice lost in the chaos. But Leonard grabbed him, pulling him through the crowd. "They're pinning it," he hissed, shoving Darius into an alley as cops closed in. The laptop was with the FBI, Black's crew nabbed, but the House Rivera, it was all gone, flipped into a new frame-up. Leonard's satchel hung heavy, the burner buzzing, Agent Monroe's voice faint. "Black escaped. Blew your place as a distraction." Darius stumbled, the alley dark, the victory shredded by fire and lies. They hid in a dumpster's shadow, the stench of rot choking them, Leonard's arm bleeding fresh. "He's loose," he muttered, slamming a fist into the wall. Black played us, hit harder. Darius clutched his knees, Rivera's melted phone flashing, her second death his fault. The FBI sting had worked, cleared him for a heartbeat, only for Black to burn it all down, heart spinning the ashes into gold. "She's winning," Darius whispered, voice raw. "Heart's turning everyone against me." Leonard's eyes burned, fierce despite the blood. "Not over," Black's desperate, showing his hand. "We've got Agent Monroe. Proof he's alive." The U.S. dumpster creaked, sirens circling, Deputy Harlan's voice barking orders. The mill's triumph was dust, the house a grave, Rivera a ghost twice killed. Darius's counter had struck Black, but the backlash was a sledgehammer. Racial hate fueling Hart's glee, Deputy Harlan's badge, Black's bomb. They were homeless, hunted, the night a furnace of loss, and Black's laugh echoed somewhere in the dark, promising worse. Ethan Carter crouched in the dumpster's shadow, the Arlington night reeking of burnt rubber and garbage, the distant glow of their torch duplex fading as sirens screamed through the streets. Leonard's arm bled dark through the rag, his pistol gripped tight, the laptop satchel slung heavy across his chest. Ms. Rivera's charred body flashed in Darius's mind. Black's bomb, a brutal erasure of their fleeting win. Foster's megaphone rant echoed. That black boy's a menace, twisting neighbors into a mob, Deputy Harlan's badge glinting as he hunted them. They were homeless, framed, and Black was loose, a ghost striking from the dark. Leonard yanked Darius up, his voice a harsh whisper. We're sitting ducks here. Safe house. 50 miles out. Move! Darius nodded, legs shaky, the alley a tunnel of shadows as they bolted, chain link rattling under their scramble. Leonard's limp slowed him, blood dripping a trail, but his Marine grit pushed through, guiding them to a rusted pickup stashed behind a pawn shop. Borrowed it, he grunted, hot wiring the engine with a flick of wires, the truck coughing alive. Darius climbed in, the seat torn, the cab stinking of stale cigarettes as they peeled out headlights off, the city a blur of danger. The highway stretched north, pines looming black against a moonless sky, Arlington's sprawl shrinking in the rear view. Leonard's burner buzzed, Agent Monroe's voice crackling faint. Black's crew spilled. He's got eyes everywhere, Leonard. Stay off the grid. The line died, static hissing, and Darius's stomach knotted. Eyes everywhere, he asked, voice small. Leonard's jaw tightened, steering one-handed, blood crusting his sleeve. Northbridge is his intel hub. Someone there tipped him, Foster, maybe Deputy Harlan. They knew the sting was a bust. Darius sank lower, the truck's rumble a fragile shield against the hunt. 50 miles felt like 500. The safe house, a weathered cabin tucked in a Georgia hollow, its wood warped, windows boarded. Leonard killed the engine, scanning the dark, then hauled Darius inside, the floor creaking underfoot. A single bulb flickered, casting long shadows over a cot, a table, a dusty radio. Old Marine spot, Leonard said, dropping the satchel, checking his pistol. No tech, no trace. We regroup here. Darius slumped on the cot, mud caking his sneakers, the weight of Rivera's death, Andre's loss, the burned house pressing. Down. Could they really hide from Black? Night deepened, the cabin a brittle sanctuary, Leonard pacing by the door, his device humming with red dots too close. Darius dozed, exhaustion pulling him under, when a crack split the silence, wood splintering. As the door flew inward, he jolted awake. Leonard spinning, gun up, but shadows flooded in. A dozen figures in hoods and hunting gear, rifles glinting. Jackson, one roared, voice thick with venom, a racial slur spitting from his lips like poison. Leonard fired, dropping two, blood spraying the walls, but the mob surged, a tide of hate. Darius dove behind the cot, heart slamming, as bullets punched wood, glass shattering from the boarded windows. Leonard grabbed him, shoving him toward a trap door in the floor. Crawl space, go, he barked, firing again. A third man crumpling, his scream cut short. Darius yanked the hatch, tumbling into dank earth. Leonard sliding after, the trap slamming shut as boots stomped above. Dirt clogged his nose, roots snagging his hoodie, but Leonard pushed him forward, whispering, out the back now. The mob's shouts echoed, slurs raining down. Get the black trash. They burst from a vent, the cabin's rear shadowed by pines, but flames licked the night. The mob torching the roof, a Molotov cocktail shattering against the wall. Darius sprinted, legs burning, Leonard lagging, his limp worse, blood soaking his pant leg now. The truck sat useless, tires slashed, gas pooling under it from a ruptured tank. Forest, Leonard gasped, shoving Darius into the trees, the mob's howls chasing them, burn them out. Darius stumbled over roots, branches clawing his face. The fire's roar fading, but the threat growing. The woods swallowed them, pines thick and dark. Darius's breath ragged as Leonard leaned. On him, blood slicking his grip. Hot, Leonard muttered, voice fading. She rallied him. Deputy Harlan's badge gave him teeth. Darius's mind raced. Her megaphone rant now a lynch call. Racial hate weaponized by Black's tip. They hit a clearing, moonlight glinting. Off a creek when a spotlight blazed, pinning them. There, a voice bellowed, "Deputy Harlan's," his silhouette looming with a megaphone. Ethan Carter wanted for arson, murder, armed and dangerous. Darius froze, the light blinding. Leonard shoving him down as a bullhorn crackled statewide. "Suspect fleeing! Shoot on sight!" The mob roared, boots crashing closer, a shotgun blast splintering a tree above them. "Run!" Leonard yelled, but a net snapped from the dark, tangling his legs, yanking him back. Darius lunged, clawing at it, but hands grabbed him, rough and relentless, dragging him off. Leonard thrashed, caught, shouting, "Go, Darius!" as the mob hauled him away, slurs drowning his voice, a rifle butt cracking his skull. Darius broke, free, stumbling into the creek, water soaking him as he ran. The mob's lights fading, he hit a thicket, collapsing, chest heaving. Leonard's capture a gut punch. Alone, hunted, he wiped tears, mud streaking his face. Deputy Harlan's broadcast looping in his head. The safe house was ash, Leonard gone, and Black's hand guided it all. Heart's lies the spark. Deputy Harlan's law the hammer. He crawled deeper, thorns tearing his skin, when a twig snapped, a shadow looming. A rifle clicked, a sniper's scope glinting, Black's voice purring through a comms unit. "Found you, boy." The forest went still. Darius's breath a shallow rasp, the sniper's aim steady. He was pinned, no cover. Leonard's fate unknown, the mob's fire a distant glow. Black's trap had snapped shut, the escape a delusion, racial hate chasing him to the edge. The sniper stepped closer, boots crunching, a cold laugh echoing. "Black says hi," he sneered, finger on the trigger, and Darius braced the niter coffin. His bold counter a spark drowned in blood and flame. "So let's break this down." Did Leonard push Darius too hard to fight back, or was running there, only shot? Drop a 7202 in the comments if you think they should have stayed hidden, a 2950 if you'd have faced the mob head on. Hit that like button if you're reeling from Black's ruthless play, and subscribe because tomorrow's twist will turn this chase upside down. Can Darius dodge this sniper's bullet, or is Black's net too tight to slip? Ethan Carter froze in the Georgia thicket, thorns digging into his knees, the sniper's rifle glinting cold under the moonlight, Black's voice purring through the comms. "Found you, boy." His breath rasped shallow, the creeks chill. Soaking his legs, Leonard's capture a fresh wound in his chest. The mob's fire glowed distant, Foster's slurs and Deputy Harlan's manhunt echoing, a noose of racial hate tightening around him. 11 years old, alone, hunted, he braced for the shot, eyes locked on the sniper's shadowed face when a crack split the night. Not from the rifle, but behind it. The sniper jolted, blood spraying dark as he crumpled, a bullet through his skull. Darius flinched, mud splashing as a figure emerged from the pines, a woman in tactical gear, her dark hair cropped short, a silenced pistol smoking in her hand. "Move, kid," she snapped, voice low and urgent, yanking him up by the arm. Her badge flashed FBI, the name Agent Monroe stitched in faint thread. "Carla, Agent Monroe," she said, dragging him through the brush, her grip iron tight. "Been tracking Black. Your dad's call tipped me." Darius stumbled after her, legs numb, the sniper's body a heap in the dirt. "Leonard!" he gasped, voice cracking. "They took him." Agent Monroe nodded sharp. "Mob's got him, but I know where. Black's hideout. Old quarry 10 miles east. My team's close." She shoved him toward a black SUV tucked in a ravine, its engine purring soft, headlights off. "Get!" "She ain't, we're getting him back." Darius climbed in, the leather cold, hope flickering fragile as Agent Monroe floored it, tires chewing gravel, the forest blurring past. The quarry loomed, a jagged scar in the earth, its cranes rusted husks against the night. Agent Monroe killed the engine, her radio crackling as 4 agents joined, geared up, faces grim. "Black's got a crew inside," she briefed, voice clipped. 10, maybe 12. "Leonard's alive. Bait for you, kid. We hit fast. Extract him." Darius nodded, chest tight, the sniper's death a lifeline he clung to. Agent Monroe handed him a knife, its blade dull but heavy. "Stay behind me. Cut him free if we reach him." Her eyes softened, just a flicker. "You're tougher than they think." They crept in, shadows among shadows, the quarry's edge a drop, into darkness. Floodlights buzzed, casting harsh beams over a concrete bunker, 2 guards pacing its roof, rifles slung lazy. Agent Monroe signaled, her team fanning out, silenced shots dropping the guards, bodies thudding soft. Darius's pulse hammered, Agent Monroe leading him down a rusted ladder, the bunker's steel door ajar. Inside stank of oil and sweat, a maze of crates and flickering bulbs, voices echoing from deeper in. "Jackson's bleeding?" One laughed, thick with venom. "Kid'll come running." Agent Monroe moved like a ghost, her team flanking, taking down. 2 more guards with precise shots, blood pooling on the cracked floor. Darius followed, knife clutched, the air thick with dread and hope. They hit a chamber, Leonard tied to a chair, his face swollen, blood dripping from a split lip, his suit shredded. A guard stood over him, fist raised. But Agent Monroe fired, the man, collapsing, a red hole in his chest. "Dad!" Darius rasped, rushing forward, slicing the ropes. Leonard's wrists raw and slick. "Get out!" Leonard croaked, voice weak but fierce, hauling himself up as Agent Monroe tossed him a pistol. "Black's here," her radio buzzed, an agent's voice cutting through. "Perimeter's hot, hostiles inbound." Agent Monroe cursed, shoving them toward a side exit, her team covering. "Extraction now," she barked, but the walls shook, a deafening roar as the bunker's entrance erupted, flames licking inward, debris raining. Black's voice boomed over a loudspeaker, cold and mocking. "No loose ends, Jackson." Mercenaries stormed in, a dozen strong, black-clad and masked automatic rifles blazing. Agent Monroe's team fired back, bullets ricocheting, an agent dropping. With a scream, chest torn open. Darius ducked behind a crate, Leonard beside him, popping shots that felled 2, blood spraying the walls. Agent Monroe spun, her pistol cracking, dropping another, but the tide surged, relentless. "Fall back," she yelled, her voice cracking as a grenade rolled in, blasting the chamber, shrapnel shredding her second agent, his body slamming the floor. Darius's ears rang, smoke choking him as Leonard dragged him through a shattered wall. Agent Monroe covering, her shots precise but frantic. "Go!" she shouted, blood streaking her face from a gash, firing until her clip emptied. The mercenaries closed, a hail of bullets catching her team. The 3rd agent crumpling, gut shot, the 4th pinned, his leg blown off, screaming as he bled out. Agent Monroe reloaded, standing tall, but a burst tore through her chest, red blooming dark, her body jerking as she fell. Eyes wide, lifeless. Leonard shoved Darius out, the quarry's edge a chaos of fire and screams, the bunker a slaughterhouse. "Run!" he roared, limping hard, blood soaking his leg, the pistol empty. Darius sprinted, legs burning, the massacre searing his mind. Agent Monroe's team gone, her sacrifice a fleeting shield. They hit the ravine, the SUV still there, keys dangling, but headlights flared. A second wave of Black's men roaring in, tires screeching. Leonard fired Agent Monroe's drop pistol, dropping one, but a shot grazed his shoulder, spinning him into the dirt. Darius yanked him up, the SUV's door slamming as he floored it, gravel spraying, the wheels slick with his sweat. Bullets pinged, the chassis glass cracking, but he swerved, the quarry shrinking behind them, Black's taunt fading. "Your helpers die, boy." Leonard slumped, breathing shallow, blood pooling on the seat, the laptop satchel clutched tight. "Agent Monroe," Darius choked, tears blurring the road. "She's gone." Leonard's hand gripped his arm, weak but firm. "She bought us time. Keep driving." The highway stretched, a black ribbon under a starless sky. Darius's hands trembling, the massacre a weight crushing his chest. Agent Monroe's badge, her team's blood, all for him, all torched by Black's wrath. Leonard coughed, voice fading. "He's bleeding us out. Foster's mob, this. It's all him." Darius nodded. The sniper's scope, the mob's fire. Now this. "Racial hater whip," Black lashed harder each time. The SUV rattled, gas low, the night a hunter closing in. No allies left, just a battered truck and a father fading fast. Ethan Carter gripped the steering wheel of the battered SUV, the Georgia highway a dark blur under a starless sky, the stench of blood and gasoline thick in the cab. Leonard slumped beside him, his breathing shallow, blood soaking his shredded suit from shoulder and leg wounds, the laptop satchel clutched tight against his chest. The quarry massacre replayed in Darius's skull. Agent Monroe's team torn apart, her lifeless body crumpling. Black's mercenaries, a tidal wave of death. The safe house burned, Rivera gone, Andre lost. And now this, a fleeting escape bought with too much red. He floored it, the engine rattling, desperate for distance from Black's reach. Leonard stirred, his voice a rasp. "Arlington, Channel 5, 615. We've got Agent Monroe's docs." He coughed, blood flecking his lips, pulling a USB from the satchel, its casing scratched but intact. Stolen from her car before the blast. Black, Foster, Deputy Harlan, all on it. Darius's eyes flicked to it, a lifeline in the chaos. "We go live?" he asked, voice trembling but sharp. Leonard nodded weak. "Expose them. End this." The plan ignited, reckless and raw, a last stand against the lies burying them. Darius swerved into the city, the skyline jagged, the stations, lights a beacon in the dark. Channel 773's lot buzzed, a live broadcast in progress. Sarah Dalton's voice cutting through the night, reporting the duplex fire. Darius crashed the SUV into a curb, tires screeching, dragging Leonard out, his dad's weight heavy on his shoulder. Blood trailed as they staggered to the studio door, a security guard blinking at them, stunned. "Sarah Dalton now?" Darius barked, shoving past, Leonard's pistol flashing in his waistband. The guard backed off, radio crackling, and they burst into the newsroom, cameras rolling, lights blinding. Sarah spun mid-sentence, her mic dropping as she saw Leonard's bloodied, formed Darius clutching the USB like a grenade. "We're live," she said, voice steady, waving her crew to keep filming. "Ethan Carter, Marcus Carter, what's happening?" Darius stepped forward, heart slamming, the nation watching. Black's after us, he shouted, voice raw. Damian Black, ex-CIA, Hart framed me. Deputy Harlan's dirty. They killed Rivera. Andre Agent Monroe's team. This proves it. He thrust the USB at her, Sarah snatching it, plugging it into a console. The screen flared, audio crackling, Black's voice ordering the Parents' Day hit, Deputy Harlan's laugh plotting the frame up. Hearts. Venom calling Darius gang trash in a recorded rant. The newsroom went silent, then erupted, staff gasping, Sarah's eyes wide. This is explosive, she said. Live to thousands, millions maybe. As the clip looped, Black's name a bomb. Detonating. Leonard leaned on a desk, blood pooling, but his voice cut through. Pentagon's got my back. Black's rogue using Northbridge to hit me. Clear our names. The broadcast hit like a shockwave, phones buzzing, social media igniting. Just justice for Darius trending in minutes. Outside, sirens wailed, but these were different. Federal, not Deputy Harlan's goons. FBI vans rolled up, agents storming in, badges flashing, cuffing Deputy Harlan as he barged through the door, his buzz cut gleaming, face twisted in rage. You're done, Jackson, he spat, but the cuffs clicked, his lies exposed. Sarah turned to the camera, fierce. Officer Deputy Harlan arrested. Live on air. Northbridge is under fire. Darius's chest swelled, a wild triumph surging, the nation seeing Foster's racism, Black's vendetta, Deputy Harlan's corruption unravel. Protests flared outside, horns blaring, reinstate Darius, signs stabbing the night. By dawn, Northbridge buckled, a press release firing Foster, her smug bun nowhere in sight, her career ash. Black's face plastered, wanted posters, FBI vowing a manhunt. Darius stood tall, Leonard beside him, bloodied but unbowed. The studio, a fortress of truth. Had he too? They finally won. The high crashed fast, Leonard's burner buzzed, Agent Monroe's last contact replaced by a distorted snarl. Nice show, Jackson. Darius froze, the voice Black's cold and venomous. Check the grid. The studio's lights flickered, then died. Arlington plunging. Dark, a citywide blackout swallowing the skyline. Gasps rippled, Sarah shouting for backup power, but the screen stayed black. A new broadcast cutting through. Pentagon cyber attack traced to Marcus Carter. National emergency declared. Darius's stomach dropped. The USB's victory flipped. Leonard's name are traitors now. Leonard staggered, clutching the desk, blood smearing as he yanked the laptop open, its battery glowing faint. Black hacked us, he rasped, fingers trembling over keys. Planted a worm in the sting files, hit the grid when we aired it. Darius blinked, the room spinning, the nation's eyes turning from heroes to villains. Sirens screamed closer, not saviors now, but hunters, federal boots pounding the lot. Marcus Carter, surrender, a megaphone blared, agents storming in, guns drawn, cuffing him as he slumped, too weak to fight. Darius lunged, shouting. He didn't do it, but a wall of Kevlar shoved him back. Leonard dragged out, blood trailing, his satchel seized. Sarah grabbed Darius, pulling him to a corner, her voice urgent. Black framed him. Kid, we'll fix this. But the damage roared. Arlington dark, chaos spreading, the broadcaster noose. Foster's voice crackled over a radio, smug again. Your kind always falls, Darius. I'm back. Better chair. She'd clawed her way up, rehired in the panic, Northbridge's queen once more. The studio emptied, agents hauling Leonard to a van. Darius left with Sarah, her crew scrambling, the blackout a shroud over their win. Deputy Harlan's cuffs were off, his smirk wide as he strutted free, Black's puppet still pulling strings. Darius sank to the floor, the USB a hollow shell, Agent Monroe's docks torched by betrayal. The nation raged, protests flipping to riots. Traitor. Jackson graffitied on walls. Racial hater, wildfire Foster fan. Leonard was gone, the city a manhunt's prey, and Darius's stand had flipped the world against them, deeper than ever. Ethan Carter stood in the dim channel, 4432 studio, Arlington's blackout cloaking the city in chaos beyond the shattered windows. The hum of emergency generators, a faint pulse under his feet. Leonard was gone, hauled off in cuffs, blood trailing from his wounds, as the FBI branded him a traitor for black cyber attack. The USB's triumph had flipped into a nightmare, Foster reinstated, Deputy Harlan freed, and the nation baying for their heads. Darius's hands shook, clutching Agent Monroe's cracked knife, Sarah Dalton's urgent whispers fading as he stared at the dark screens. He'd lost everything, but Black was still out there laughing. Sarah grabbed his arm, her voice sharp. Weave? Gut-proof Black hacked the grid, Darius. We can't let him win. Her crew scrambled, laptops glowing, but Darius's mind churned, a desperate plan sparking. Lure him, he said, voice raw. Fake files again, old mill. I'll rig it. Sarah blinked, then nodded fierce. Risky, but I'll back you. Go. She handed him a burner phone. Its screen cracked, and Darius bolted, the night swallowing him. Arlington a maze of riots and shadows, his only weapon the knife and a fading hope. He hit the mill by midnight, its rusted silos looming over the Georgia outskirts, the same spot where the FBI sting had crumbled. The air stank of oil and ash. The duplex's fire a ghost in his lungs. Darius slipped inside, the concrete cold, his sneakers silent as he rigged traps from Leonard's marine lessons. Tripwires from scavenged wire, a gas can tipped to spill, a steel beam loosened to fall. He texted Black's burner from Part 9955's. Drop? Iron Wave Files mill now alone. The bait was set, his breath shallow, the knife clutched tight. Could he outsmart a killer? Hours crawled, the mill a tomb of echoes. Darius perched in a shadowed loft, eyes on the entrance. Headlights slashed the dark. A black SUV rolling up. Black stepping out, tall and scarred. His silver hair glinting. A pistol in one hand, a satchel in the other. 3 goons followed, rifles slung, their boots thudding as they swept in. Masks off, faces hard with hate. Jackson's kids here, Black sneered, voice thick with venom, a racial slur spitting free. Files or blood, boy? Darius's pulse hammered, the trap his only edge. He triggered the first wire, a clang echoing as a crate toppled. Goons spinning, rifles up. There one barked, firing wild bullets pinging steel. Darius darted ducking beams, luring them deeper. The second trap snapping, wire yanking a shelf down, crushing one goon's legs, his scream piercing. Black roared, "Find him!" as a second thug charged, rifle blazing. But Darius rolled, slashing the man's ankle with Agent Monroe's knife, blood gushing as he fell howling. The third lunged, a meaty fist swinging, but Darius dodged, kicking the gas can, fuel pooling the Miller tinderbox now. Black stalked forward, pistol steady, his scar a jagged line under the flickering bulb. Smart kid, he said, cold and a mocking, but not enough. He fired, the shot grazing Darius's arm, pain searing, blood dripping as he stumbled back. Darius gritted his teeth, luring Black to the beam, its bolts loose and yanked a rope, the steel crashing down, pinning Black's leg, his gun skittering. Black snarled, trapped, his satchel spilling, but his eyes burned, unyielding. You lose. Boy, he spat, clawing free. a knife flashing in his hand. Darius dove, grappling, the knife slashing air as he wrestled Black, mud and blood slicking his grip. He landed a punch, Black's nose cracking, but the man's strength surged, pinning Darius' blade at his throat. "Your dad's next," Black hissed, when headlights blazed, a SWAT van roaring in, Deputy Harlan's voice booming. "Freeze, Jackson!" Darius twisted, Black rolling free, the beam shifting as SWAT stormed, rifles up, Deputy Harlan at the helm, his buzz cut gleaming, a smirk wide. "Caught, you arsonist," he sneered. Cuffs out, racial hate dripping. Leonard burst from the van, bloodied but alive, his suit torn, pistol raised, an FBI agent uncuffing him fast. "Black's your man, Deputy Harlan," he roared, firing at Black, who ducked, limping to the SUV. Goons dead or down. Darius lunged, tackling Deputy Harlan, the cop's gun skittering, but SWAT swarmed, boots kicking, a rifle butt slamming Leonard's chest, blood spraying as he crumpled, gasping. "Dad!" Darius screamed, clawing free, but Deputy Harlan pinned him, cuffs snapping, the Miller chaos of shouts and smoke. Black peeled out, tires screeching, his laugh echoing. "You lose everything, kid." Leonard lay still, blood pooling, his breath a wet. Rattle, SWAT standing over him, Deputy Harlan's boot on Darius's back. "Traitor's son," Deputy Harlan spat, the racial slur a whip, as agents hesitated Black's escape a taunt. Darius cradled Leonard, his dad's eyes flickering, voice faint. "Fight? Smarter?" The mill burned behind them, gas igniting, flames licking the night. The showdown a gut-wrenching loss. Heart's lies, Deputy Harlan's badge. Black's knife carving deeper than ever. Ethan Carter knelt in the muddy chaos of the old mill, the Georgia night thick with smoke and blood. Flames licking the rusted silos as Leonard's chest heaved under his hands. The SWAT team loomed, rifles glinting, Deputy Harlan's boot grinding. Into the dirt beside him, his buzz cut a stark outline against the firelight. Leonard's breath rattled, blood bubbling from the rifle butt's blow, his eyes flickering, voice a faint rasp. "Fight, smarter." Black's SUV had vanished, his taunting laugh a ghost in the dark, leaving Darius cradling his dying father, the final gambit a wreckage of loss. Heart's lies, Deputy Harlan's badge, the nation's hate, it all pressed down, a coffin's ceiling shut. Medics swarmed, shoving Darius aside, their shouts muffled as they strapped Leonard to a stretcher, his blood soaking the canvas, the laptop satchel torn open beside him. Deputy Harlan smirked, cuffs dangling, but an FBI agent barked, "Stand down, officer, he's clear." The agent's badge flashed. Agent Monroe's unit, her death a debt they honored. Darius stumbled after the stretcher, mud caking his knees, the mills, inferno a mirror to the ruin inside him. The ambulance roared off, sirens piercing, leaving him alone with the wreckage. Deputy Harlan's sneer in a city still dark from Black's grid hack. Days blurred, Arlington a haze of riots and flickering power. Darius holed up in a cheap motel, the TV droning lies. Marcus Carter, Pentagon traitor, dead in custody. The funeral came fast, a gray drizzle soaking the cemetery, a handful of mourners under black umbrellas. Sarah Dalton among them, her face tight with grief. Darius stood by the grave, 11 years old and hollow, the navy blazer torn, Leonard's badge clutched in his fist, its edges cutting his palm. Foster's voice haunted the airwaves, reinstated at Northbridge, smug as ever. Justice served. That boy's chaos ends here. The nation mourned a traitor, racial hater, shroud over the truth. He buried Leonard alone, the dirt clumping wet on the casket, vowing revenge in silence, each shovel full a promise. The motel room waited, its peeling walls a cage. Darius, staring at the ceiling, Agent Monroe's knife on the table, its blade dulled by Kane's blood. Weeks crept by, Arlington's power sputtering back, Northbridge's gates gleaming untouchable, Foster ruling her kingdom, Deputy Harlan patrolling free. Darius drifted, a ghost in his own life. The USB's expose drowned by Kane's hack. Leonard's name a slur graffitied on walls. Had it all been for nothing? Then a shadow moved in the alley beyond his window. A figure knocked, soft but sharp, the motel door creaking as Darius opened it, knife in hand. Andre Lewis stood there alive, his wiry frame hunched, glasses cracked, a scar slicing his cheek where Kane's men had cut him. "Thought I was dead, huh?" he rasped, stepping. In locking the door, his oil-stained jacket dripping rain. Darius's jaw dropped, the room tilting hope a jagged spark. "They said overdose," he stammered, knife clattering to the floor. Andre grinned, grim and fierce. "Faked it. Infiltrated Kane's crew after the ambush. Been deep, kid." Andre pulled a laptop from his bag, its screen glowing as he booted it, files spilling open. Kane's accounts offshore millions, names tied to Foster, Deputy Harlan, a global network of corruption. "Hacked him from the inside," he said, voice low. "Dates, deals, proof he ran the grid hit. Framed your dad." Darius's chest tightened, the scar on his hand throbbing as he scrolled. Foster's payments glaring. Deputy Harlan's cut from Kane's ops. A web Leonard died fighting. "We've got him," he whispered, voice shaking, vengeance of fire reigniting. They worked fast, Andre's fingers flying, Darius feeding the data to Sarah through a burner, her broadcast prepped for dawn. Channel 752-3 lit up, Arlington waking. To Sarah's voice. Victor Kane exposed global conspiracy unmasked. Northbridge's Foster and Officer Deputy Harlan implicated. The screen flashed bank records, Kane's orders, Foster's smug face tied to payoffs, Deputy Harlan's badge a pawn's tool. The nation jolted, protests flaring anew. Yuck justice for Leonard trending. Northbridge's gates mobbed, Foster dragged out by feds, her bun unraveling, Deputy Harlan cuffed mid-shift, his smirk gone. Kane's jet sat on a private strip, engines hot, when FBI, choppers descended, rotors thumping, agents swarming, his silver hair glinting as cuffs snapped on, his scar a stark line under floodlights. "You're done, Kane," an agent barked, shoving him into a van, the Empire Andre cracked, collapsing. Live. Darius watched from the motel, Andre beside him, the broadcaster blade through the dark. Leonard's name cleared, the traitor lie torched. Foster's rain fell, Northbridge's board firing her for good, her smugness a memory. Racial hater boomerang she couldn't dodge. Darius walked into Northbridge that morning, Andre's USB in his pocket, the halls buzzing, kids staring, not with scorn but awe. He strode to Foster's old classroom, the door ajar, her desk empty, a new teacher scribbling notes. "Welcome back, Darius," she said, voice soft, no venom, just respect. He nodded, sitting at his scarred desk, Leonard's badge heavy in his blazer, a weight he'd carry forever. The bell rang, class starting, but his mind drifted, the victory bittersweet, Andre's scar a reminder of the cost. Night fell, Arlington's. Light steady, the motel room quiet as Andre packed his mission done.